Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel on what is a cold but nice. Actually, it's more of like a warm day. Let's not call it cold. It's more of a warm day here in the Bay Area. I'm already on the bike, and yeah, wanted to talk about something that happened to me. And as you can see from the title of the video, this is why I don't shop on Craigslist anymore, or mainly sell on Craigslist anymore. So here's my story. First I'll say that I've had a lot of good experiences on Craigslist, a lot of positives of buying and selling vehicles, mainly vehicles. I don't think I ever sold anything else on Craigslist or bought anything else other than motorcycles, cars, things like that. But here's a story that I want to share with you guys that I don't think it'll discourage you guys from buying from there or shopping on Craigslist. Get this started. But it will at least make you a little bit wiser, where you can learn from my mishap. So, yeah, spoiler alert, mishap. But oh, it's a nice Beamer. Oh, I've seen that one before. Okay, so here's what happens. At the time, I had a Ducati 848, and I think I mentioned this before in another video. The whole reason why I ended up with this Panigale is that a friend of mine had a Panigale 899, and he let me ride it. I thought it was great, and at the time I didn't have the funds to buy a second bike, so I wanted the 899, and so I had to sell the 848 in order to get it. And spoiler alert, I ended up with a 959, and that was because I couldn't find an 899, and I'm totally happy with that. I bought it brand new. But anyways, well, when I was in the process of trying to sell the 848, couldn't really find anyone that I knew that wanted the 848, and so I went on Craigslist. I posted it. I've posted things there before, like I mentioned, my old Ninja ZX6R and numerous cars that I've not only sold but purchased as well, and had no issues. But this time around, I posted on Craigslist. Someone comes by, checks it out, and I'm talking with the guy. The guy seems very, positive and like cool guy, like someone you'd want to hang out with. His thing is, he came to an apartment that I lived in at the time. It was a gated community apartment, and it's kind of late, and he didn't have any riding gear with him or anything like that, but he said that he had just come from work, and his wife was on the way to bring his gear, that he liked the bike, that okay, so she'll be on her way with his gear, so that and their son, so that the car that he drove in can be driven by the son, and the bike obviously he'd be riding. So that was the plan, right? So he's there by himself. His car is parked just outside in this little parking lot right outside of the apartment gate, because at the time our apartment was right by the entrance of the whole complex. So it was perfect. His car was parked right up front. My bike was garaged right by there, and some time goes along, and his wife and kid are not there yet, but he's like, hey, you know what, do you mind if I give a little test ride with the bike? And I was like, yeah, you know what, sure, I'll let you test ride it, but you know what, just test ride it here in the gated area with no helmet. So, and obviously his car that he came in was sitting right in front of me, so I didn't have too much to worry about, you know, like his car is there, he has no helmet on, and he's in a gated community. What can go wrong? So, and I know you guys are gonna bash me in the comments, but I mean, this is my story. This is I know, like this is my mess up for trusting people. So I hear him riding around in the neighborhood, and after a while I stop hearing the bike, so I start to go into a little bit of panic mode, and long story short, he took off. So he took off, and I'm like, okay, what the heck? All right. So I called the cops. I'm texting the guy also, and you know, I tell the cops, like, hey, you know, his car is still here, and you know, here's his car information, blah blah blah. And sure enough, by the time the cop comes to my house to talk to me, or my apartment at the time to talk to me, he already knew that that car had been reported stolen 10 days prior. So feeling really bad at that moment, really duped, and just like, more than anything, you know, like the bike, it was insured. I got more money from the insurance than I would have gotten trying to sell it. My insurance was really good to me, so that was nice. But this guy's letting me go through. Thank you. So it wasn't about that. It was just more that, and it wasn't that the bike was gone or that I had to go through insurance or anything. It was that I let something like that happen to me. That, you know, I'm smarter than that, or at least I thought it was. I had never had a bad experience, and I felt that I had a good sense of trusting people and things like that, and I was wrong in this case. This guy really, you know, played me, and he played me to trust him and take off with my bike. And yeah, that's the main reason I don't. And to be completely transparent, I did sell one more time on Craigslist, but I did it a little bit smarter this time. I did it in an area where there was security, there's cameras, it was the daytime, and I took a picture of the guy and sent it to my wife, and just was let people around me know like what was going on, and that transaction went well. But after being duped with the bike, I already had like a bad sense, and I already had a bad feeling about just selling on Craigslist again. So I was glad that the last transaction that I did on Craigslist after what happened with the bike went way better and smooth, just like all the other transactions I did on Craigslist went. It was just that one time with that bike that, you know, something that caused me to say, you know what, this could have been worse, could have been dangerous, could have been a violent jacking or attempt to steal my bike. But you know, he played me, he played my trust, and took it. Since then, you know, I plan, you know, like to keep my bike. Thank God I'm in a situation now where if I wanted to get a second bike, something I really like, I wouldn't have to sell this bike to get it, and I wouldn't have to go through that. But if I did for some reason have to, it wouldn't be that way again. And there's dealerships, there's used dealerships, there's new dealerships, there's places you can go. I've talked to friends that say they go as far as like carrying weapons with them. A friend who's like, hey, straight up, I have a gun with me all the time. And I've read, people will meet up people at police stations, or the main one I think is, public areas like a Safeway or Starbucks and things like that. So I know where I messed up, and it's just, I felt stupid for letting all that happen. There's so many things that I did wrong in that situation, and there was a lot of things that could have gone worse in that situation. But the positives I take from it is that it was quite a learning experience. I actually got more money for the bike that I wanted, and yeah, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. Like I said, it could have been a jacking, straight up. So yeah, that's the reason I no longer buy on Craigslist. So yeah, I hope, I know there's people that, troll on the internet and like to say, like, I would have done this and I would have done that, or you're done for this, or you should have done that, or blah blah blah. I already know it. I already heard it. This happened to me years ago. Okay, so this happened maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. So trust me, I've heard it. And whenever I tell the story, and by the way, shout out to Brandon. He suggested I talk and I make a video about this story, because when I was telling one of our cousins about it, he overheard and he was like, wow, like the biggest thing is like that people are like, wow, the guy left a stolen car and took your bike, like, that's crazy. Oh, and by the way, the bike was eventually found in San Jose, California, and by then the insurance had already paid me, so all I had to do was say, because that was the police that called me, all I had to do then was tell the insurance, hey, I got a call from the cops, here's the case number, they found the bike, thank you, have a good day. That was it. No information about like exactly where they found the bike, if they found more bikes with it, or if it was trashed, or nothing like that. If they found the guy, nothing like that. It was just basically, we found the bike, insurance, here's the bike, and it's their property now, and that was it. So, and I think they found the bike within a few months. It wasn't, it wasn't a few days, or definitely not a few hours. It was just a few months later. But yeah, that was, I look at pictures of that bike and I'm like, damn, that would have been a nice bike to keep. I would have never gone through that. But like bad things that happen to you in life, like you're supposed to learn from them, you're supposed to get smarter from them, and I feel like that's what happened in this case. But yeah, in the comments, I mean, I know obviously you guys are gonna, some of the things that you would have done and would have said, that's obvious. People always think they're smarter than others. But I want you to maybe share your story, something that might have happened to you. Let's try to look at the positive and maybe learn from each other before something like this happens. Because I think for one, I got lucky. A lot of positive things happened out of it, but let's try to protect ourselves out there, and because it could have been worse, and we don't want that to happen to each other, right? There's a lot of bad people out there, and it's a shame, because I feel there's no need for that. There's no need for people to have to steal, and take away what's hard earned from people like you and me. But yeah, let's yeah, let me know what you think, any stories you have, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Later.